towards providing that support that entrepreneurs and business owners need. So we'll start here, and ladies first, instead of going from there. So if we can talk a little bit about how these should work, and what are you doing in Bank of America regarding that, Evelyn?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jorge, for having us here today representing Bank of America. I would like to share with you that I am a Small Business Community and Development Officer for Bank of America. I've been with them for 20 years. And one of the ways in which we're bridging that gap of that access to capital need is having boots on ground, having me on ground, really understanding with business owners what are their challenges and how to overcome them, and connecting them with the right resources that are available. So I'll share with you that in the last 3 years, Bank of America has highly focused on small business owners. Those businesses that have less than 500 employees, that generate less than typically $10 million in revenues. We have business owners that have 0 to 10 employees, and we also want to tailor to them. So we've come up with a lot of solutions, tools, and resources. One of them is called our Access to Capital Directory. A lot of our business owners came to us and told us sometimes we just don't know where to go. How do we connect with angel investors, for example? How do we connect with venture capitalists? So we created this directory that pairs you up, depending upon what your need is, pairs you up with the right institution or the right provider. There's even information on grants. I just recently helped a business owner obtain a grant to start her business. So that's the number one tool that we launched. It's highly utilized to encourage everyone to take advantage of that. The other tool that we launched, and it's actually launched last month, is called our Access to Capital Connector. And this is more designed for businesses who are not yet bankable. Maybe they don't meet the underwriting criteria that the banks have. And we connect those businesses with the local organizations or institutions that can provide the lending, such as startup lending. Or maybe their credit is having some issues and they can work with those institutions. So those two tools are key to connecting the business owner to the right access to capital resource. I can talk more, but that's one way to begin.
All right. Rose, I mean, you've been through many institutions and many banks. What do you see are still the obstacles of financing Latinos in the franchise business?
I think basically literacy or preparedness to go into a loan. A majority of the folks that we work with, I work with entrepreneurs doing SBA loans. That's generally the first path forward into a franchise or a small business. And what we see is that these folks, if they do own a home or not own a home, that's probably the most financial thing that they have done to that point. So preparedness is one thing. Education is extremely important. Thank God for the internet and everything, the tools that we have available. People are becoming more educated, but as there is education, there's also some pitfalls to some capital. There's capital companies out there that perhaps are very quick putting money into these small businesses' hands. However, ideally, months later, it might not be the wisest financial decision they make. So it's very important for everybody up on the stage as financial institutions to educate the most vulnerable people that we have.
Great. Tony, on your vision, what is your bank doing? What strategies do you have for supporting these kind of entrepreneurs?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for having us here today. And it's really kind of cool because it comes at a very, very unique time for Banco ZK. Banco ZK is expanding their footprint a lot in this Texas market. And one of the things that's been very, very important to us to be able to grow and scale our banking model and build more branches is to have a presence in a lot of LMI areas, to have a presence relative to what we need from a CRA standpoint. So we actually are out in the communities doing a huge small business blitz on trying to talk to those small businesses and those entrepreneurs about having access to capital, being able to come to Banco ZK, and whereas they might usually go through a lot of red tape to try to get loans across the finish line, we are making some of that capital a lot more accessible to them, and so that's a very, very attractive program that we have going on right now. We were just in some LMI areas for the past couple of days talking to small businesses, minority-owned businesses, more prevalent in the Latino community. Hey, come in to check us out. We're a smaller community bank. There's a lot of fear of going to larger banks and just having to meet a lot of red tape and not being approved. And we kind of want to be that little partner, that middle community bank that connects into the community, be a bank that actually looks like the community that we're in, and to be able to provide some resources and some capital to them. In addition to that, one of the things that are important for a lot of small business owners is their processing, their merchant services. So through Clover, who we have partnered with, that provides the merchant services for the bank, they also have a program called Clover Capital. So for those small businesses that might need some equipment financing, or might be able to, or might need some capital as far as growing their business out, or any of those kind of things, employment issues, that Clover Capital can kind of help bridge some of that gap to really help some of the Latinos get the financing and get the money that they need to get their business off the ground.
Now, as Evelyn, you mentioned